Hey, let me tell you what's really going on here, okay? First of all, if you go back to that opening scene, you're gonna see a coffee cup behind me. That's a Starbucks cup. Now, how did that get into the place, okay? Well, I'll tell you what I did. One morning, I went to the crew, okay? They get there really early. I'm talking about the sun's breaking. They've already been out there an hour. As much as I rag on these guys, I mean, they work their ass off. And I went up to one of the guys and I'm like, hey, bro, you remember that camera you see on my table? They're leaving that over because I shoot at night in order for them to get more content. So literally, I'm giving them 8 to 10 hours of content a day plus what I collect on my own camera at night. And I went to the dude and I'm like, hey, bro, they told me to bring this to you and get a new battery. Also, they said to order 2 drinks for one of the other crew members, because I knew these guys were getting ready to put their coffee orders in. They said to order 2 more of these drinks, very specific, 4 shots, foam to the top. It's for one of the other guys over there, and he told me to add that to the order. Well, those coffees were for me because I didn't want to spend my money, right? And they're like, Grant, spend your money. I'm like, I ain't spending my money. First of all, I'm not Grant. I am Lewis Broke Curtis. And I ain't got no money. You understand? Because remember, when I got to town, what did I do with that $100? I dropped it off at Wells Fargo. See, the fact that I dropped the $100 off means I don't have it to spend. When I got the apartment, this house that I'm living in, this raggedy ass house that, by the way, was way better than the RV. How did I do that deal? I paid out of the $10,000 in advance, okay? I don't see that as me spending money. I still haven't spent Discovery's money. Check that out. I used it as advance money from the $10,000 that Matt gave me in order to grow the business. And I'm using this as my office, my place to now start building a list of names because I got to deliver now. This is the hard part of the business is you see me sitting in the kitchen now, banging out, okay? Like you have no idea, for those of you who've started a business, like I'm excited, I'm optimistic, I'm positive, but the other side of me is like, this ain't gonna work. I'm having to call people. This is the drudgery of a startup. I got to call people that I don't know. I got to sell them on somebody I don't even know, this Lewis Curtis character. And I actually got pretty good at introducing myself. This is Lewis Curtis. This is Lewis Curtis. Watching me go through these calls. Most of the time, I'm just leaving a name and a number that I don't even get a call back. I have no clue where it's going, okay? So this is when you, as a business owner, and me as Lewis Curtis, fall into this abyss, the abyss of, is this gonna work? Nobody's calling me, nobody's answering. All the signals now indicate this is a loser. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to troll. I know from personal experience as Grant Cardone that I need to like literally drop as many lines in the water as possible, leave as many phone numbers as possible. And while I'm doing that, notice that I'm laying lines out. I'm dropping names when I can. Hey, Matt told me to call you. Zabukovic told me to call you. I'm dropping names to edify myself and create credibility where I have none. You gotta understand, I have no credibility. Lewis Curtis simply does not exist in the universe. And the reason I did this show was I wanted to prove to you that you don't need a name, you don't need money, and you don't need social media, but you do need a strategy. You need a pitch. So what am I doing? I'm making a lot of phone calls during the day, trying to build a contact list. 35 days I've been in Pueblo now, literally building names. The first 10 days I had 100 names. Now I'm starting to add that, looking for people that I can go to, PBR being one of them, Burton being one of them, where I'm gonna go pitch him. Now, if you go back and watch what I said to Antoine. I do a really aggressive, kind of traditional marketing for companies. What kind of business you got? I got a very aggressive, traditional, like I don't even know what that means. So you guys understand, in the beginning, you will be making it up. You got to make it up to figure out what you're going to say to people. Like, I don't know what I'm doing in the beginning, and you're not going to know what you're doing. You literally have to have a volume of calls, leaving messages, pitching your product or your service, as I'm doing as Lewis Curtis, to even figure out who you are, what you do, what your pitch is. When Antoine Burton says, I said, man, when can we get together? I just need 10 or 15 minutes. Remember, I don't do this on the phone. I'm using the phone to get in front of this guy. I want to close the distance between me and the target. And that's why I'm doing this piece with you right now. I want you to see what Discovery didn't show you, couldn't show you, wouldn't show you, maybe just simply because they don't see the moves I'm making.